speaking of borders, something that I saw recently, I'm sure you saw too, is that J Street recently put out that they're no longer saying that they believe in the possibility of a two-state solution. And, while many of us already realize that that can't really happen, that that's not really a plausibility thing, this to me seemed like a big move in terms of Jewish organizations in this country, even going further to the left, because they were considered to be liberal Zionists. And this idea of what a liberal Zionist is what I think of as like, and I don't know if you would agree like this, during the transition that it takes to get from being a Zionist to being where I am now, right? There's this middle ground, this where it's the two-state solution place, right? Like the Jews are entitled to having a state, but so are the Palestinians, right? Like that's still this plausible thing. And now I realize that that's not a plausible thing. So what do you think about the fact that J Street now just came out and finally affirmed, yeah, we've killed any possibility of a two-state solution?
Well, I think it's waking up to something that should have been obvious, 10 plus years ago, if not 20 years ago. What I would ask is, if they are giving up on the two-state solution, then what are they advocating for? Does that mean they're advocating for a democratic state of all its citizens, which is not a very radical concept, but it is for many Zionists? So the next question really is, then what is it that you stand for, and how are you going to create the political will? Because that's what J Street is. It's a political organization to make that happen. And I haven't seen that spelled out. I don't think it's clear to them either.
Right.
When we talk about the two-state solution, though, I'm old enough to remember, that there was a brief window of time where the two-state solution really looked like a viable solution to the issue. This was pre-Oslo. And Oslo just dashed those hopes completely. I mean, Israel went into those negotiations completely disingenuously and used it to double down on the occupation and make a two-state solution absolutely impossible. But there was a time when the two-state solution, both by the representatives of the Palestinians and Israel and the United States as a broker, was something that was in the realm of possibility. Maybe not the perfect solution. There are no perfect political solutions. I also think the notion of two states is rooted in a concept of segregation, segregation based on identity, which again is somewhat illiberal. But historically, there have been times where, whether we're talking about India and Pakistan, or in Belgium and Ireland, that there are borders drawn and treaties signed because these two groups of people need to stay separate. Those things have happened, but Israel has just kiboshed completely any possibility of that happening. And it's been obvious for a very, very long time. So it's interesting to hear that J Street is coming around, at least to, admitting the obvious, but I'd be very curious to know what it is that they are advocating for.
What is the solution, right? Like, I believe in a single democratic place in any location, right? Like that whatever the bulk of the citizenry or bulk of residents of any location come together and form a civilization, it's a majority rule situation, however you set that up, right? Like, but from where we are right now, given what it looks like in the West Bank, given the situation in Gaza, let's say you could wave a magic wand and have, it be one democratic state. That's not something that can just happen overnight, right? Like, how would we even go about undoing, let's say, Gaza, and dealing with that?
Well, if I had a magic wand, it would be no problem.
Right. But let's just say you could even get the political will. Let's just say you could get everybody in a power position to say, you know what, we have to stop oppressing these people and having an apartheid regime. We need to create a democratic state. How do we do that?
I am hesitant to spell out what I think needs to be done because I'm not a stakeholder. I don't live there. I'm not an Israeli or a Palestinian. I think they need to work out the specifics of it. I do know that from a Palestinian point of view, the right of return of refugees is absolutely sacrosanct. The Palestinians, like all other peoples, are very diverse in their politics and the religious secular divide, and there are also Christian and Muslim Palestinians, but they're fairly united on the concept of the right of return. So I think that will have to be absolutely part of the deal, with reparations and some kind of restorative process. We saw that, and again, it happens. That's not pie in the sky. It happened in South Africa. It's happened in countries around the world. Reparations and repatriation is a thing. So I do believe that will have to be part of whatever specifics are ironed out. And there needs to be full equal rights, civil rights, human rights for everybody who lives between the river and the sea, whatever that looks like, whether it's a republic or whether it's, it's a binational state, or, you hear all kinds of different interesting ideas being bandied about. But the first thing that needs to happen is a recognition that the status quo can't continue. And true democracy is the ultimate goal here.
And when you say things like from the river to the sea, that has been used as like where people say, if anybody says that Palestinians should be free from the river to the sea, they're anti-Semitic, they're wanting to abolish the Jewish state. And this is a common one. Like, this is one that Ilhan Omar, I think, got hit with at one point when she had said some comment, or was it might have been Rashida Tlaib.
Either way.
Either way. But made that comment, and they never heard the end of it. And it's amazing to me how we have been able to change the narrative from one person's freedom now equates to them wanting to annihilate another group of people. Like, somehow that's the logical step. And I don't understand, like, how so many people accept that and just say, that sounds anti-Semitic to me.
That attitude, the attitude that if you give Palestinians democracy, they're just going to throw Jews into the sea. That is the exact same racist attitude that existed in this country after the Civil War, after the abolition of slavery. Southern white slave owners were saying that we're going to be murdered in our beds. It's what happened when they talked about desegregating the South. It's what happened in South Africa. It was the biggest argument against dismantling apartheid, was that there's going to be a bloodbath against white people, which never happened. Right. This is a trope. This is a racist meme that basically treats a group of people as bloodthirsty beasts, simply because they just want to live free on their own land. And I think we need to push back against that strongly and call these tropes out for what they are. Overwhelmingly, Palestinians will tell you what they want is they want to be their own home. They want to live with the same rights as everybody else. They want individual rights, and they want their national rights respected as well. Between the river and the sea, which means the West Bank, Israel proper, Gaza, no exceptions. The idea that somehow this means the annihilation of Jews is just fear-mongering. When we talk about doing away with the Jewish state, if the only kind of Jewish state we can imagine is a Jewish state that is rooted and based on the dispossession of Palestinians, frankly, I think that kind of Jewish state should be dismantled. I'd like to envision creative ways about creating a Jewish state that's not based on the oppression of another people. Again, the specifics of that will need to be worked out by the people who will be impacted by these decisions. But as a Jew, I'm implicated in the actions of this state. I feel, all Jews everywhere are facing what I believe is the most important moral issue facing our community today. It's Israel-Palestine.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.